Hello guys, welcome back to yet another video. If you've clicked on this video, it's either of two things. Either you're a Formula One fan or you are trying to get to know more about Formula One, or this video just piqued your interest. Either way is welcome. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, as you can see, I'm still small. The views are not much, so help me out with the algorithm, okay? Thank you so much. So in this video, I'll be discussing the F1 Drivers' Championship contenders in 2026. And I'll be focusing more on the top 10 drivers because, of course, every driver wants to win the Drivers' Championship, right? And there are 22 drivers this year, 11 teams, but not everyone can win the Drivers' Championship and not everyone can fight for it. Of course, you're going to get points here and there. You want to compete, you want to be in the best car, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, and it's just the way it is. That's how Formula One is. Sometimes we have eras where one team just dominates the entire era, like the way we had with Mercedes between 2014 and 2021, and Red Bull between 2022 to 2024. Yeah, something like that. But that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, this video is going to be backing off, like I'm going to be piggybacking off my last prediction videos that I did. If you've not seen it, I'll put it in the description. Please go check it out. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and please help me grow. Thank you so much. So, without further ado, let's get into today's video. And making this video, I'm not trying to discount the efforts of any driver or any team, because for sure, yes, we when you go for a competition, you are expecting to, maybe you want to do your best, you want to win, you want to give it your all, but it just happens that not everyone can win. Someone has to win. So instead of doing the entire drivers' championship, I don't want to go down to the lowest to like, okay, this person is going to finish last, or no. I can do that for the teams, but I will not be doing that for the drivers because, of course, out of respect. But yeah, you could say I can actually do that, but I choose not to be honest. So let's start. The top 10 drivers in the 2026 Drivers' Championship. In P10, I'm going to be going with Oliver Biermann. Now, if you've watched my previous video, you would see I put Haas in as like they would be one of the best teams in the midfield. Like, at least, I think, yeah, I predicted them to be the best team, P5 in the Constructors' Championship. And one driver that has stood out for Haas has been Oliver Biermann. Oliver Biermann now is a driver that I see in a few years will be a Ferrari driver. To be honest, what he did last year as a rookie, when he had a teammate in Esteban Ocon, who is very experienced, I think almost 8 years in Formula One, and he wiped the floor with Oliver Biermann. I'm sorry, with Esteban Ocon. Sorry, he wiped the floor with Esteban Ocon. So, given his performances, I'm expecting him to rise up to the occasion. Given from preseason testing, we can see that these guys have a better car. So, it's only right that he makes that next step forward. Because from the performances I've seen from Oliver Biermann in qualifying, in the races, he is a good driver. And I think he will be the driver to replace Lewis Hamilton when eventually Lewis Hamilton leaves Ferrari. For sure, Oliver Biermann is a future Ferrari driver. So, for the Drivers' Championship in 2026, Oliver Biermann will be in the top 10. I am quite confident of that one. Not that I work for Haas or anything. So, yeah. So, in P9, I'm going to go with Pierre Gasly. As you know, if you've also watched that video, I am a huge fan of Pierre Gasly. I feel like he is one of the most underrated drivers in Formula One. And from preseason testing, also, you could see that the Alpine team are doing a good job this season. I think even they have also one of the most innovative cars on the grid. Their rearing is quite special, different from what everyone else is doing. Although, yes, their car is not in its perfect place. They still have a little work to do on the cars, but their race pace has looked good. And I'm telling you, Pierre Gasly is underrated. This guy's a race winner, by the way. I think we all forget that he's a race winner. And he's been on podiums multiple times. So, given the car he has, the package he has, I'm going to put him in P9 for the World Drivers' Championship. So, I'm going to react to this video at the end of 2026 if we're all there, by God's grace, because honestly, what's going on in the world right now, you never know. So, yeah, Pierre Gasly P9 for the Drivers' Championship. In P8, I'm going to go with Isaac Hadjar. Now, of course, he's now up with the big boys. Yes, he's in the top team. It's more serious now. It's more business. No more. You won't be seeing him doing a lot of this marketing videos, advertising and all of that. Not like advertising, but yeah, marketing videos. Because when he was at Racing Bulls, last season it was him and Liam Lawson. They were like the clowns of F1. To be honest, they were just doing everything for Racing Bulls. They were just, and it's always funny videos. Yes, I get it, but I think now your teammate is Max Verstappen. You're with one of the big boys, and I think his main focus will be to learn as much as he can this season. Now, is it gonna be be a difficult task for him? I don't really think so, because I don't think there's so much pressure on the second Red Bull seat, especially given what he has done last season. Everybody knows he's a good driver, right? Of course, Yuki Tsunoda did not get that advantage of being like given that time. But if you look at it, Yuki had like 4 years before getting into Red Bull. This is Isaac's second season. So I think he'll get more leeway and people would understand what the performance is. So that being said, I'm going to leave him in 8th position in the Drivers' Championship. In P7, I'm going to go with Oscar Piastri. Now, of course, you could say, yeah, Oscar was fighting for a world championship last season, but it's a different set of regulations. It's a different car. It's a new car. I think from what we've seen in preseason testing, yes, the McLaren look like one of the top 4 teams, but as we also know, nobody knows the actual competitive nature of especially Mercedes and Red Bull. Nobody knows the actual competitive nature until we get to Australia before we can find out who is actually who for the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship as well. Right now, we are just all going off and making our predictions based on what we've seen in preseason testing. That being said, Oscar Piastri, P7 in the Drivers' Championship this year. I don't think McLaren have like an out-of-the-world rocket ship like they had last year. So that is why, and you will see with the next prediction what I'm saying. So also in P6, I'm going to go with Lando. Yeah, the world champion is not going to retain it. Somebody else is going to be the world champion. Wait till the end of this video to get that, to know who my predictions for the World Drivers' Championship will be this year. So Lando, P5, for the same reason Oscar is going to be P6. And of course, I am putting Lando over Oscar because, as we know, McLaren will always favor Lando over Oscar. It's a done deal. We know that one. I mean, maybe because he has won the Drivers' Championship now, maybe there will be less intervening from the team. Now, I don't want to speculate because, of course, papaya rules, right? But we'll see what will happen. So in P6 and P7, Lando and Oscar, respectively. In P5, I'm going to be going with Kimi Antonelli. Now, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, as Toto Wolff like to think about him, the next Max Verstappen. Is it... So for Kimi Antonelli, I see him making a huge step this season. I know the Mercedes car is touted to be one of the best cars on the grid right now, especially because of its engine. And of course, as an engine manufacturer, you would expect them to do well. But yeah, also last season, Kimi had some exceptional drives. I think he would win a race this season. I really believe that. I think with the hype around the Mercedes package, even though they didn't show their hands so much during preseason testing, I think Kimi should be able to win a race this season. I think it's one of my predictions I have that, yes, this guy, from what he has shown, of course, he's had a pole position. He's been on podiums multiple times. I think he just needs to iron out his mistakes because, of course, that's one of the things that caught him last season. I mean, if you know the Taliban video that they always put on Oscar, not Oscar, the Taliban videos they always put on Kimi and George because of, they take out some drivers sometimes. If you remember, at the Dutch Grand Prix last year, he took out Charles Leclerc. I think at the Austrian Grand Prix, he took out Max Verstappen as well. So he has a mistake in him. So once he irons that out, I think in the future he will climb higher in the drivers' championship, and it also depend on the car you have, right? So for now, I'm gonna put Kimi P5 because I feel like this is another learning season, but with a better package. Because even if it's head to head with George, I don't think he'll beat George. George is very consistent, at least from what we've seen last season. But P5, Kimi Antonelli. I'm gonna be giving P3 and P4 because they're teammates. That's Ferrari. Yes, I'm going to put Lewis Hamilton in P4, and in P3, I'm going to be putting Charles Leclerc. Now, people will say, oh, why not put Lewis ahead of Charles? Because I don't think that will happen. Because qualifying-wise, yeah, I think Charles will beat Lewis in head-to-head qualifying this season. Not because... Charles is just a better qualifier. Like there's no way to go about it. Like he is better in qualifying. He pushes the car like crazy. Now, during the race, you could say something different because Lewis is normally Mr. Sunday because he normally has a better drive on Sunday than what he does during qualifying. So, yeah, but Charles is also good in both. He's good at defending. He's good at qualifying. He's a good driver, So if he's always consistently starting ahead of Lewis Hamilton, except if he has some misfortune down the line. That being said, I think he will finish ahead of Lewis in the Drivers' Championship. Anyway, so that's what I think. Even though I have predicted them to be in the fight for the Constructors' Championship, I do think the Ferrari factor will hinder them from winning the Drivers' Championship. I really believe that because you know what they say with Ferrari, every year is our year. Every year is our year. They say that every single season. Now, I hope things turn out different for them this season, even though preseason testing has shown us that, the Ferrari is actually having a very good car. Those engineers that they brought in from World Endurance Championship, they might know what they're doing. But we will find out in Australia. Now, to the top two in the Drivers' Championship. In P2, I am going to be going with Max Verstappen. Where do I start with Max Verstappen, to be honest? Because like this, of course, we all know he's the best driver on the grid. There is no two ways about it. If you give him a decent car, he will put that car where it doesn't belong. Like we saw that last season, even at the beginning of the season when Red Bull had like not a very good package, he made the best of it. He won in Japan, he won at Imola. I think it was until Red Bull got their act together after the mid-season break. After the mid-season break, Red Bull got their act together and he was on the podium, I think, every race except one until the end of the season. And he finished 2 points behind Lando in the Drivers' Championship. So you see, like, I don't think I need to make a case for Max Verstappen. Just give him a decent car and he's good. So P2 for Max Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship. Now also, except if Red Bull give him if he gives him a package if the Red Bull team gives him a package that is on par with the Mercedes, or just there to fight, like if let's say the top three cars of Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull are like maybe almost even, I think Max Verstappen will win with the Drivers' Championship. Why do I keep saying constructors? Max Verstappen will win the Drivers' Championship. I think I'm saying the constructors too much because I don't know. Maybe I have thinking about the video I did. Please go check it out. I'm saying it once again, so just help me out there. All right, on to the next one. And the new world champion for the 2026 F1 season, I'm going to go with George Russell. Where do I start with this one? So for George, I think George just needs to lock in. To be honest, I think George Russell has been antagonizing Max Verstappen so much. And I think right now is the best opportunity he has to put actions to those words. Because it's like, even if you watch the recent Drive to Survive documentary for last season, you could see that Max Verstappen is living rent-free in George Russell's head, to be honest. Even during preseason testing, when Lando said, if Max doesn't enjoy driving the cars, he can retire for all he cares and all of that. And even George now added to that. And it's like there's this obsession with Max that George has. And also, I honestly I can understand it, because if you're a good driver, especially you had the kind of season that George had last year, and your team principal is always talking about Max Verstappen this, Max Verstappen that. Of course, I want Max Verstappen to drive for me. It kind of gets to you, and you would find every opportunity to at least, antagonize, but not that dramatic thing that you did in 2024 at the Qatar Grand Prix, where you said, oh, he always lashes out with violence and all of that. Nah, we're not doing that, okay? If you want to win well. Lock in. I mean, if you want to do it Lando style too, it's good. Being the nice guy and all of that, that is good. But I don't think that is your nature, because, just lock in. Forget all this, anything to do in the media. We want to see it on track. Of course, yes, you can go back to last year, Spain, and you say Max did this to you. Yes, that one justified. I support you on that one. In fact, Max lost his head for that one. Absolutely. I support you on that one, George. But you have to lock in. None of this media thing. Don't go to the media to report Max for anything. Lock in on track. You have one of the best cars. I think this is the generation of cars you will have some of the best advantage with ever for you. I mean, because we don't know what the future has. And also, we don't even know how good the Mercedes car is. At this point, this is just a prediction, But of course, you were in the top. So, yeah. George Russell to win the 2026 Drivers' Championship. Let me know what you think about my predictions. Also, if you have your own predictions, who are your top 10 contenders for the Drivers' Championship? If you just have top 3 or top 4 or top 5, put them in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.